Hi student, Architecture 122. Today I will show you a few things. It can help you to solve for the assignment number 2. Assignment number 2, we have two parts. The first one, you need to draw the floor plan. The second one, you do that floor plan and you create for one elevation. So we have two parts. Part A is floor plan and part 2 is elevation. So now I show you how to do for the floor plan, part A. First of all, you need to measure for the floor plan do you have. This is the floor plan. So if you see the floor plan, I need you to measure by scale 1/8. You turn to 1/8 and you measure with this one. So 1/8 is this one. Can you see that? This is 1/8. You look at the number. You look at the number. On here, you can see that's 1/8. I need you to measure the floor plan by scale 1/8. 1/8. Measure the main dimension. That means you measure from one. Can you see that it's a horizontal? And you see this is the longest one from the floor plan. So you measure that one from here to there, and you get dimension right there. After that, you use breaking line to measure small part dimension. For example, you can see from here to here, you measure one of them. From here to here, you measure another one. And the last one is right here. Of course, total from the small, you break it down. Distance is right here, plus this one and this one equal the main one. The longest one you measure for the horizontal line. You can do more break line for make sure that you have some kind like the breaking right here. For example, you measure from here to here, the exterior wall, and after that, exterior wall for this one. So you have dimension, you put the dimension right here. So now you do the same way with the vertical line. For example, you see on the floor plan from here, exterior wall right here to here, you need to measure from all of them, the longest one from the vertical one, from the top to the bottom. And you measure that one, put the number right there. After that, you can break it down small part from here for more dimension, smaller for later. You easy to draw for whole of the floor plan. You can do breaking more in this one, breaking line here, and you measure this one. Do the same thing with this one, exterior wall right here. You draw like this one, and you use this one to measure smaller, and you put the number right there. Everything right here, you measure horizontal and vertical by scale 1/8. Okay, so the measure before you start to draw, you measure on the scale 1/8. 1/8 this one. You can see this is 1/8. You need to measure on 1/8. For example, you measure from here to here. You use 1/8 to put like this from here to measure from there, and you put the number. You count the number, and you write out the number like I did right here. Okay, if I go close with that, you can see the number I measure like this. You can see that. I'm start from the floor plan, and I start from here to there, and I got dimension right there. So you can see that I start from here to here. So now, the way you draw the dimension, you draw the line right here, not touch with the planing. That means you have the gap right here for make sure you're not confused later for dimension line or the line from the floor plan. The first one, you need to measure the longest one from the floor plan. You look at this one from here to here is the longest one, and I measure that by 1/8 scale. I got this number right here, 50 feet 0 inch. That means I use the scale 1/8. This is the scale 1/8. You can see that the number right here is 1/8. And I measure the longest one from here to here, and I count that is 50. So I put the number I measure right there. After that, you break in line for more small part inside from the floor plan. You break in line because later you need to draw this one, and this one. So you right now you break in smaller, this one, this one, this one, because later you need to use this dimension to draw on your plan. Okay, so now I do the same thing. You see the blue color, the blue one I measure from the horizontal one. I do the same thing on the vertical, and I put the red color for you can see easier than. So you can see the floor plan. The top one is right here, exterior wall, and the lowest one is right here. So that's one, the longest one is this one, and I measure by 1/8 scale and got the number right here. After that, I breaking more smaller distance for make sure that this is the one I will draw later. This one I will draw later also. So I break it down here, 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 and I measure with 1/8 scale. I got this number right there. I can do more breaking line when I measure that. For example, like here, I saw this is the window. This is the window, so that's why I measure from here to here for make sure that's later. I can draw the floor plan easier than, and I measure that. Okay, same thing with this one. I do a smaller part. So now I give you example when I measure by 1/8 scale. One more time, I need you to measure by 1/8 scale. That means the scale you see the number 1/8 on this one, on this one. So you see that's 1/8, and I need you to measure that on 1/8 scale. Put the number from the distance you measure there. And when you finish measure, you take the paper. Either you can use many 8-11 paper you tap together, for it make you have the big paper. If you have the sketchbook, you can do on that also. And you start to draw 1/4 scale. Okay, so remember I need you to draw 1/4 scale. You measure on 1/8. Measure on 1/8. But when you draw 1/4 scale. Look at this. Okay. So for example, you see the number right here, 50 feet. That means I measure from the scale 1/8. When you draw on 1/4 scale and you measure exactly 50 feet, but you use the scale 1/4 when you draw. Okay. The distance you put right here, the number. And when you transfer to your drawing, you need to use 1/4 scale to draw exactly that number on 1/4 scale. After you finish the floor plan like this, you can start to do second part. And the second part, part B, is elevation. When you finish the floor plan, you just do the project line from the first one. You just go do straight line like this. This one you call that the project lines, or you can call that the construction lines. It's same thing. That means you do for perpendicular from the one on the floor plan, you project down to your paper. And after that, you start to do elevation, look like this. One more time, I need you measure for 1/8 scale and draw on 1/4 scale. So for example, on here, from the bottom, this is the finished floor. I put 0 feet 0 inches. That means the finished floor. I measure up to the top from the roof one by scale 1/8. And I got the number from the height from the top of roof is 40 feet 0 inches, and that is the top one from the elevation. I continue to do like that with the main part from the elevation, and I take the line out like this, and I measure that by 1/8 scale. And if I use 1/8 scale, this is 1/8 scale, and I measure from top to the finished floor, and each of them like that. Use 1/8 scale, and I measure. I put the number in there. You can see that I put the number in there. 40 feet, 34, 29, 21, and 13 feet. That means this one is sum up the main height from the elevation. I will to draw later, so that's why I need to do the basic one like this before I start to do elevation. Okay, so from elevation you can project from the floor plan. Project perpendicular line down to the floor plan to the finished floor, and after that you start to draw elevation. For example, right here I project from exterior wall right here, and I project line down here, so I can see elevation. It should be right there. Same thing like this. I start from to do right here for the wall from the garage, and I do the project line down, and I can see the garage right here. This the project line where I do something like that. On here on the floor plan, I do project line straight down to here, so I know that's the garage open. It's like this from here to here. Do the same thing with another part. For example, this one is exterior wall from the floor plan. You can see that, and I just do project line straight down to the finished floor, and I got the line for I can draw for elevation. Do something like that with the landing right here. You see the post from the landing. I do project line down to the finished floor, and I got the post right here for the landing before I go to upstairs. So basically, when you finish the floor plan, you can project line straight perpendicular to the finished floor when you want to draw for the elevation one. The measure right here, one more time, you use 1/8 to measure. You use 1/8 to measure. This is 1/8 to measure the height from the building. Measure on up the height from the building. You need to use some line basic. Later you can use this one to draw for elevation. Measure 1/8 and draw 1/4. For example, when I measure for 1/8, top of the roof is 40 feet. It's like this. Now if I do the paper bigger and I draw from 1/4, I keep the number in 40 feet, but I use the scale 1/4 when I draw that. I use this scale when I draw for whole of the floor plan and elevation. For example, 40 feet. For example, 40 feet from scale 1/8. If I turn the scale to 1/8, is this one. Is this one. And I measure 40 feet. It starts from 0 right here. You can see the 0 right here. And 40 feet is around here. It's around here. You can see the number. This is the 40. So 40 feet from here to here. It's 1/8. When I measure, start from 0, and you can count 0, 4, 8, 12, 16, and up to 40 right here. You can see 40 right here. That means the vertical. When I measure 1/8, for elevation, it starts from here to here. when I measure for elevation. So now, when I draw, for example, I draw on 1/4. That means I use the scale 1/4 right here. You look at this 1/4 right here. And the top from the roof is 40 feet, so I start from 0 right here. And I turn that, I count 0, 2, 4, 6, 8, and up to 40. 40 right here. And I stop right here. I do vertical for elevation. 40 right there. From 0 to 40. Okay? So, for example, floor plan. For example, this is floor plan. And the distance here in the house is 18 feet. You see that 18 feet? That means when I measure that, I use 1/8 when I write there. And I measure this is 1/8. So that's why this is 1/8. And start from 0. So 18 is right there. You can see that 16, 17, 18. So 18 right here. It starts from 0 and the scale 1/8. So it starts from 0, so you can count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Continue 12. Okay? And 18 is 16, 17, 18 is right there. 0 to 18. Okay? That I measure from 1/8. So now, when I draw, I need to draw 1/4. So I use 1/4. It is one. This is 1/4. And this is 18. 18 feet, so I need to draw it start from 0. Right here, 0. 0 right here. And I measure 2, 4, 6, 8 until 18. So 18 is right here. So I draw the line like this for 1/4 scale from 0 to 18. Like this on the scale 1/4. Okay. So now, in case if you cannot, the paper cannot, cannot fix for on up the floor plan dimension, you can use smaller scale. Instead of 1/4, you can try, I think that 332. It is one. It's so small, but you can try this one. 332. And you start from 0 right here and you count for the other one like this. But I suggest that you do 1/4. I suggest that you do 1/4 when you draw. With the best scale you can draw, and it's easy for you to read everything on the scale. Okay, so that's all for some information for you do for assignment number 2. The first part is to draw the floor plan. This one. The second part, you draw for elevation right here. Elevation right here. So before you do that, you need to measure by 1/8 scale. And when you draw 1/4 scale. Okay. After you finish everything, I will show you how to do for the texture right here. It's very easy. However, if you have the table, the drafting table, it's easier than. But if not, it's okay. So this is assignment number 2. Okay. Hope you can do very good, and see you next time.